Okay. So if you remember, this is what we discussed yesterday, isn't it? A warehouse on fire. Okay. So we saw that, Bob and Alice, they were driving and they saw the smoke coming out from the warehouse. So they informed the dispatcher, John, and told them that, there's a fire, and John noted down and sent an acknowledgement saying that, yes, we got your message and we will soon, we are dispatching the team to fight fire, right? So this is an example of how, okay, you can report a fire, right? So we were talking about scenario-based design, right? So this is one scenario, okay? Now, how do we design? Okay, so to design, we need to know a few things. Like, so I told you, right, when you talk about a movie scene, we need to understand few information, right? Actors cannot just go and act, right? You have to explain them what happens, things like that. So in this case, okay, if you see here, it describes a single instance of reporting fire, right? There could be multiple other reporting, right? There could be automated system, some third person, reporting. There could be multiple other ways, right? But you're talking about just one, okay? Of course, there are more than one. That's why we are saying that does not describe all the possible solutions. And actors are Bob, Alice, and John, correct? Now, how are scenarios formulated or created or designed? Okay, so first of all, we have to write an ID, right? So let's say functional requirement 1, FR1, or scenario 1, SS1, okay? And then we have to give it a name, okay? Name could be a report emergency, or report fire emergency, report fire incident, right? That's the name we give to the scenario, okay? And then we look at, first the actors, okay? Actors are people who will be involved in that scenario, okay? Then you have entry conditions, flow of events. What is entry condition? Entry condition means the condition which will trigger the scenario. So if there were no fire, if Alice and Bob didn't notice the fire coming out, or there was no smoke at all, the scenario wouldn't have occurred. Okay, the scenario wouldn't have occurred if there was no. So the trigger for this case or this scenario is the smoke coming out from the building, right? Yes. And they saw that, okay? Not that it's coming out, but Alice and Bob saw that, right? If they had not seen also, it wouldn't have occurred. So entry condition is condition that will trigger the scenario. Actors are the people who will participate, okay? Entry condition is the condition that will trigger the scenario, okay? If that condition doesn't occur, the scenario will not occur, okay? Then we talk about flow of events. Flow of events means the steps that happens after entry condition. Okay, fine. Entry condition done, it triggers. Then what happens? What are step 1, 2, 3, 4, so on? So we call it as flow of events. Then we talk about exit condition. So the events will go on, right? When will the scenario end? The condition, okay, when the scenario ends. Okay, so in this case, what is the exit condition? When does the scenario end?
When the dispatch team will arrive the scene.
No, not arrive. We never spoke about arriving.
Okay.
Did we speak about arriving?
No. Acknowledgement, when the Alice received the acknowledgement from John.
Yes, acknowledgement about, how much time the team will take to reach, right? So it will say, okay, team will reach in 5 minutes. That's the acknowledgement that you are getting. So when Alice received the acknowledgement and the estimated arrival time, okay, or estimated time of arrival of the team there. So, okay, we'll be there in 5 minutes. Our team will be there in 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Okay. Now Alice knows that, everybody is informed and nothing more you can do, right? I mean, you have to wait for 7 minutes or 8 minutes for the team to come. So that's when the report emergency scenario ends. Okay. And of course, you'll have other things as well, right? But the report scenario ends here. Okay. So we talk about entry condition, flow of events, and exit condition, right? So you have actors, the ID. Okay, everything here will have ID. So ID, the name of the scenario, actors. Okay, then entry condition, flow of events, exit condition. These are important aspect. Of course, you can have some exception or non-functional requirement. Okay, see, when Alice sends a message to the dispatch team to the John, okay, Alice will not wait forever for 1 hour. Let's say that there is no one there, or let's say John fell asleep. Let's say, for example, and there is no one to send acknowledgement, right? So if Alice cannot wait for for an hour or 2 hours for John to get to respond. So what she will say, she will probably wait for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? And then there would have been some other event that would have occurred. So your non-functional requirement could be here that every response should happen. Okay, response should be given within 5 minutes. Okay, that's a non-functional thing. Okay, we know what is functional, non-functional. What is exception? Is there any chance of deviation? Is there a chance of deviating from the normal practice or normal flow of events? We spoke about flow of events. So this flow of events probably will happen in 90% of the time, or 80% of the time, 95% of the time. But what happens in those 5%? Okay, is there an exception? Okay, so you'd mentioned that yes, if the exception is that if it is fire, then do this. If it is smoke, then do this, right? So there has to be some kind of exception. Okay, that means deviation from the normal practice. Yes. So these are the things that you need to write. So now you know, and you have to write it. Okay, and that's the purpose of today's session. So this is an example of ATM, a scenario and use case diagram. Okay, so see, what you see here is called which diagram? Use case diagram. So in use case diagram, we only talk about the title of the scenario, right? What was the title that we gave to the earlier example?
Fire on warehouse.
Report emergency.
Okay, report emergency.
We don't see it properly. Okay, report emergency was the title we gave to the previous example. Okay, that's the title. So when you see this, okay, you'll see 3-4 things here. You'll see a rectangle box. Correct? You see this? A rectangle box. Okay. In rectangle box, whatever we put inside the rectangle box are the system which we are going to develop. Okay. Things outside the system is not in our control. Okay. Things outside this box is not in our control, but things which are inside the box is for which we are responsible. Okay. So you have use cases, you have check balance, deposit funds, withdraw cash, transfer funds. These are the titles of the use case or the scenarios. Okay, so here you see you're talking about scenario and use case, right? So what you see here, this is use case diagram. Okay, now it does not describe things in detail. It only talks about the system and the actors. Of a system and the actors which are going to use your software. Okay, so check balance needs two actors. Actors can be a human being, okay, can be a hardware or a software also, right? Sometimes, okay, now for check balance, okay, so you need to, when you're in ATM will not have a check on account details will be in the bank, right? So if you are checking your account balance at ATM, information will go to the bank and you're fetching the balance from the bank and getting displayed on your screen, right? When I say bank, it could be your head office, right? And head office is where all the records are maintained. So it is the record with at head office and which is being displayed on the ATM, right? So here you see it's, so bank is not a person, but it could be a software on the software. Okay, so it talks about software, hardware, or human being, okay, which is outside the system, which uh, which is definitely not something that you're going to build, okay, but at the same time, okay, the use case is not complete or cannot be completely executed without the actor, right? So in this case, bank and customer can become actors.
Actors.
Second thing is, see the customer and ATM technician. So we are not talking about the individual, okay, we're talking about the role. Okay, ATM technician can also be the customer of the bank. Okay, so can also be the customer of the bank.
Yes. Yes, Saurabh. Saurabh.
He's in mute.
Sorry, it got clicked. I don't know. Okay, so we were talking about use case and the actors. Okay, yeah, ATM technician, right? So I'm saying that ATM technician can also be a customer, right? So that individual person, when the person comes to fix the ATM, okay, or load the gas or fix it, the role is technician. When that person comes to withdraw money, the role becomes customer. The same person, okay. So here we are not bothered about, we're not talking about individual, how many individuals we need, right? In movie scenarios, yes, it's about the person, right? Individual people, right? But here it is not about individual people, okay? It is about the roles that they are playing, correct? So here customer and ATM technician could be same person, but we are not worried about, okay, now customer, there could be hundreds of customers visiting the ATM every day. So when hundreds of customers visit ATM every day, okay, we don't talk about 100 actors. We talk about only one actor. Okay, so one person can be playing two roles. So here we don't talk about two person. We talk about two roles, right? At the same time, when we talk about one person, or maybe 100% doing same role, we still it's about one role only. Not, it's not 100 roles. Okay. Okay. Is it clear? One second.
Yes, Saurabh.
Call one second. Hello, you there? Yeah. So what did we learn so far?
The ATM technician would be a customer of bank also.
Sorry,
And the
ATM.
ATM technician might be
What is this
also a
diagram here? I'm talking about what did we learn? What is this diagram called?
use case diagram.
Use case diagram. What is the purpose of use case diagram?
We can differentiate the external factors and
Okay. Yes, we can.
the factors which we are working on.
Okay.
Yeah. The factors which are inside the rectangular box, basically we have to work on those, and the factors outside of the box, we don't have control on those factors, but we have to include those factors in the use case diagram, which will help to proceed in the further process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many use cases do you see here?
3, like one diagram, use case diagram is the one.
How many use cases do you see here?
6.
Yes, there are 6 use cases, right? And
Yeah.
each of the 6 use cases will have its own actors. So what are the
Yeah.
actors for maintenance?
What are the actors for? So
Maintenance,
ATM technician.
ATM technician, and
repair.
Now
ATM
your
technician
video
is for
on.
maintenance and repair.
ATM technician and
Bank.
bank. Yes.
Yeah.
So there are two.
2 actors for the maintenance.
Correct. The 2 actors. Okay, where we have ATM technician and bank for maintenance. For repair also we have ATM technician and bank. Okay.
Bank.
Now use case diagram, as you can see, it only tells you the title. It only tells you the the use case, okay, or the title of the scenario and who are involved. It doesn't describe in detail what it means. Correct? Right? We don't know what check balance does. So when we have to write about check balances, what do we do?
We check with the customer and bank. Like
No, what are the steps that happens in check balance? What are different steps that headers we have seen, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Add
Hmm?
describing the entry condition and describing the flow of events.
Mm-hmm.
Describing the exit condition and exceptions, describing exceptions and also non-functional requirements.
Yes. So it talks about the entry condition. Okay.
The flow of events.
Correct. Okay, the flow of events and the exit condition. Okay, on when do we say that yes, the scenario is completed and we are done, right? So that's the exit condition. Okay, when we meet the exit condition, we say that we are done, right? And then of course you have any exception, and so where do we write? We write after drawing this use case diagram. Okay, so after drawing use case diagram, you have to write description. okay, and in those terms. Okay, this is an example. I want you to read, okay, and okay, first read this, then I'll tell you what I wanted.
Yes, Saura.
Okay. Okay. So now see, this is not exactly the use case for the one that we discussed. Okay. Same use case can be done this way as well. Okay. Now tell me what is the difference between this one, okay, this use case. This is also for ATM, and the second one, which is also for ATM. Take your time, go through it, and then let's discuss. How is this different?
Can you show me the previous one once again? Okay. 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 Change the Mm. This use case diagram is concentrated on the transaction only when compared to the previous diagram. So the second diagram, the second use case diagram, it tells about only transaction, like a system startup to shut down and the transaction only. But previous one, this tells about more than transaction also. Like there are lot more use cases when compared to this use case diagram. Saurav?
Yes.
The use case is subdivided, Saurav.
Think. I want you to think and answer.
This use case is more explanatory because even if it has an invalid pin, it says what needs to be done.
Mhm. You don't want to make an attempt? What more can you do? What more can you say?
The use cases divided use case has subdivisions within that.
Use cases are subdivision. Yes. So here, if you see the actor has access to only session, isn't it? Actor doesn't have access to withdrawal, deposit, transfer directly.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So here, we are talking, so the previous one, okay, you have direct use cases where we have actors, okay. These are sub use cases. Session is the main use case, okay. Session is the main use case because that is being called by customer. And in turn, session calls transaction. So transaction is also a use case which is not being called by the actor. It is called by the session. So transaction becomes sub use case. Okay. Now sub use case can be like invalid pin and session. So see here, session and transaction, it says include. It means include means, okay, every time session is called, transaction will be called. That's what include means 100 times. So every time session is called, transaction will be called. Okay, when you say include means every time session is called, your transaction will be called. Okay. Now, transaction has actor bank. So when customer does not have access to the transaction, customer creates a session when you, okay. So the previous one is a simple use case, okay, just to show you how use cases are created, written and drawn, and you know what it means, okay. But if you see, if you compare your experience, this is not how ATM works, okay. When you go, you don't see check balance, deposit, fund options, right? And each of the options will not call bank. So here you have a session. When you insert your card, okay, the session is created and gives you option. Option is created by transaction use case. So it only means that you're putting the code separately. Okay, it only means you're putting the code separately. Okay, so you have session code separately, transaction code separately, withdrawal, deposit, transfer, inquiry code separately, but the use case talks about how they are called. In previous example, it shows that every transaction, every use case is called directly by the customer. Okay, but here it's not called directly by the customer. Customer creates a session, and then based on the choice it enters into the session, it knows which transaction case studies to call. So here the use cases are of 3 types, and all 3 types are demonstrated here. Include means, see the arrow. Arrow is from session to transaction. That means session will always call include. Okay, so when you have include arrow, it means session will always call transaction. But when you see invalid pin, arrow is on transaction. So here, okay, transaction, in this case, invalid pin is not calling transaction. When it is exclude, okay, it means the other way around. It means transaction will count invalid pin. Transaction calls invalid pins, and it's not always, sometimes. Exclude means sometimes. So 2 things. Arrow direction is reverse, right? It's, it reverse, and the arrow head is on the use case which is calling, not called. Okay, transaction is calling. Okay, when you compare session and transaction, transaction is called. Transaction is called and it has the arrow head. in case of include. In case of extend, okay, the arrowhead is on the calling use case. So this is the difference. Okay, what it means is the invalid pin use case will not be called always. Sometimes it will be called. It's not include means always 100% of the time. Exclude means it's not exclude. Extend means it is called sometimes. Sometimes when you enter your invalid pin, okay, very rarely, right? You don't insert the invalid pin. Okay, sometimes when you insert, that's when that code will be called invalid code. Otherwise, when you insert your pin, either withdrawal, deposit, transfer, inquiry option, you will have right, because you enter correct pin, so you can access the valid option. So this is same way, same example, but this is more realistic. This is how it actually works. It is little complex because previous one we had use cases we called by the customer directly and it was interacting with the bank. So there's no connection between use cases there. Here, okay, there's a lot of connection. Okay. So the third is called generalization. Generalization is like parent-child relationship. Okay. So session, invalid pin, they are include, extend, and for okay. So this is what I was saying, that generalization, okay, will not have any text like include or extend, and it will have a hollow head. Okay. See the arrow mark. Okay. It is like blank, right? Okay, but your include and extend is filled header. Okay, it will not be blank. Okay, that's one difference. It will not have text, and also the arrowhead will be on the calling use case. Okay, okay. So this is how you're supposed to write use case diagram. Now we will end it here. But yesterday I asked you about the projects. So all three of you now remember what we're talking about, what we spoke yesterday. Did you go back and check? Did you go back and check what you did, how much you did, how much you need to do more? Not interested, right? Somehow you finish the sort of, somehow you finish the topic and let us go, correct?
Not like that, Saurav.
Then
No, sir. Actually, it's summer holidays and kids are, it's little hectic. So
no. So correct. I
that's why
understand.
it's
Okay, I'm
little
not
delay.
expecting 8 hours of work. Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday, what I expected was we have already three of you. I remember talking to three of you. Okay. Meenakshi, you joined late, so Meenakshi did not get break, but two of you, Benedict and Soumya, before you went on break, I gave that assignment, and after break, you did discuss, I remember. Okay, and then just before, all three of you joined Meenakshi, I gave you that, remember that coffee shop example, right?
Yes.
So I told you, you either take coffee shop example or one of those 6 use cases.
Awesome. Yes.
Correct. Take either one of those 6, use this one, or you're free to take anything. Okay, but if you don't know what to take, you don't understand, you take these things, one of these 7, right? And I wanted you to come up with functional and non-functional requirement. I remember, I don't remember Meenakshi, probably you missed. I remember Soumya and Benedict sharing their screen, talking about it, right? And I gave some feedback. I wanted you to redo some of those things, right? So that's almost 2-3 weeks back. Now you cannot say that I did not get time, right? Yesterday I only wanted you to remember what you did before. The work was not given yesterday. Work was given 2-3 weeks back itself. Okay. Now we have come to a crucial point. Okay, this interview I told you, right, bulk of the stuff will come from here. We'll do some, I'll share some question answers, but if you look from the project perspective, this is crucial. This is the code BA. As a BA, you will be writing like this. Okay. Yes, no. So take the same example. I don't want you to redo stuff. Okay. One second thing, if you take same example, right? You will know the challenge. Okay. Some portion may be easy, some portion might become difficult, right? So you can see the end to end of a project getting shaped and getting converted into the output. Yes. And I told you, right, when you see this, these are not difficult. When you read it, it's easy. Okay. It's because all of us have used ATM, so it's easy to know what it means, and you can actually explain it in different steps. But idea is that when you learn these concepts well, you can apply this in anywhere, any domain. Okay. So see, these are the use cases. Okay. I'll stop here. I want you to go through these use cases and start writing the use cases for you. Okay, we are done with the core part of the BA. Now, next time when we meet, we'll talk about some examples. Okay, example documents that we do as a BA. I'll talk about it. Okay, and then we'll continue. We have to still see some of the examples how BA work. Some of the real project examples we'll see. After that, we get into other topics like SQL and Agile and things like that. Sounds good?
Yeah, so
Okay, so we'll end it here. Okay. Okay, so if you guys are not ready by tomorrow, you send a message. I'm not ready. I need 1 more day, 2 more days. Okay. Anyway, tomorrow we'll meet. Okay. Even if you're not ready to go tomorrow, I'm going to show you some of the documents. Okay. How those documents look like. Okay. But I will not move to new topic until unless you show me this project. Yes.
Okay.
Saurabh,
Yes.
okay. Project means like before you show some 6 problems, like we need to formulate the business requirements and user requirements for them.
Yes.
And
Correct. Everything that we have learned, everything that we have learned.
right now is that you want or the advanced
See,
thing
I
from
said anything. Take one business objective and do everything that we have discussed so far. Okay, you can take one of the 6. You can take the 7th one that we discussed, or you can take your own as well. I'm not limiting it to what we discussed in the class. Anything.
Yeah, when you showed that 6 problems, actually I missed the case study class because I joined after that class. So then I didn't get that like how to formulate the case study. But after watching those video, I formulated one case study related to hospital. So if you want to show me, I'll show you tomorrow.
Okay.
I did once Benedict show you, right, like the coffee shop example.
Yes.
Just like I did formulate this.
Okay. If it is just like that, it's fine. But if you said I copied from anything, that's not fine, right? If it's just like that, then it's okay. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah. Like I did traceability. Then I before I watched I didn't attend the class, right? So then I don't know how to I didn't know how to formulate it. After going through that Benedict case study and then that class video, I formulated one case based on those examples.
Okay.
That's what, you want me to formulate case study advanced to this or just like that?
See, so I was thinking, so see, I want you to do every step that we discussed.
Okay.
Start with the same business objective, same business problem, and perform each of the steps that we mentioned. Okay. And, show that to me. It might say, do this, okay? And if you're not able to do it, you should find a better way, not by becoming, doing some shortcut or, so because you are now going to solve the real problem, right? Real business objective, not able to take orders every time or every day,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
We will show it to you tomorrow, sir, the modified.
Yes, show it to me tomorrow, all three of you. If it is not complete, also it's fine. Okay, we will discuss, we'll refine it. And then again, day after tomorrow, also you show me. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, Saturday, probably will not meet. So it's good that you get good break. So do something tomorrow. Okay, let's have some discussion so that I can give you suggestions and you can use weekend time to, add your stuff.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Oh. Okay, so we'll end it here. Have a good day, okay? And we'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Okay, sir.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.